Huzzah, and well met after so much time to all of you merchants and traders this time around. And I say that because today we're working on gold farms. So let's jump right into it. Not that there's a lot to know. What you need first is portals and ziglins, or zombie piglins. I know some people like to call them ziglins. But anyway, the largest portal that we can build is 23 blocks on a side. So you'll technically have 21 by 21 portals or portal tiles. And each one of these portal tiles, while it is on or during a tick, I believe it is, has a very tiny chance. I think on hard difficulty, it is 3 out of 1,000 at a tick to disgorge a zombie pigman. So the idea behind a gold farm is to get as many portal tiles as we need to have a steady supply of pigmen dropping into. This one has nothing. We'll discuss an outbound portion of the farm at the next section, but as of right now, they're just being dropped to their doom because we are at +2 right now, and where these portals bottom shelf or bottom layer is has to be positive, and I think it has to be positive at 5 or more. Why that is, I'm not real sure. It seems to be the trouble. I started building this whole world for demonstration down at ground level. You can ignore that for now. That's going to be an iron farm project that we may work on a live stream in my survival world, just to test how live streams on YouTube go. But anyway, you'll see that we're at +5 on the Y level, or the Y axis, excuse me. And here we have 14 portals. You can build as many as you'd like. This is the easiest setup for a gold farm, though. As you can see, it's quite expansive. You have a portal 23 blocks wide and a portal 23 blocks that way. It's going to take up quite a bit of space and float up in the sky here, and you will get darkness down there where monsters will spawn. So just be aware of that if you're going to make one of these. Let's see, what else? Water flow, 7 blocks of flow before you step down. So you can build this as large as you want. You could have, I shouldn't say as large as you want. Once you get 44 or 45 blocks away from a portal, they will stop disgorging pigmen, and you won't get any returns from your farm. So that's in any direction. If you're 44 blocks above your portal, which our portals stop up here at Y28. So if we go up, now obviously you won't see them, but if we go up 28, well, if we go up past 60, 72, yeah, 72 would be 44 blocks away, I believe, if my quick top of the head math is correct. And we should see all of the pigmen have disappeared, or zombie pigmen, excuse me. So that's really the easiest way to make portals. These ones don't have to flicker on and off, but that does make things faster. Why that is, I'm not sure, because these are supposed to be going by tick, and you would think with all of these possibilities, any one of these has a 3 in 1,000 chance to just to spawn a pigman into the world, who then falls off. We also have to keep in mind which side of the portal that the pigmen fall off, or which side they spawn on. So we'll watch here for a second, just so you can see. Clearly, these are going to cause serious drain on the CPU if your computer is, not super cut out from Minecraft. Adding all of these portals and particle effects are going to be a strain on it. They will certainly be a strain on a server or a realm, so just be aware of that. you might want to use a smaller version of the portal and just have to wait longer for your gold to materialize. We're not seeing any pigmen spawning directly. Well, it's irrelevant because I know which side they spawn on from the others. Okay. You kind of saw that one. They're spawning on what is the positive side of the portals. You'll see that our X value, yes, our X value is getting closer to 0. That's positive. And our pigmen are spawning on this side of the portal that I'm facing, or towards that way, the positive side of the portal. This is important for other types of gold farms, but not so much this one. I've built it so that the water is on all sides. We should realistically build up this wall a little more so that they don't have a chance to step out onto the wall and then, jump off the wrong direction. We want them going down the funnel. Whoop, we don't want to do that. But for demonstration purposes, this will work. They fall into the water. They're swept all the way down here where they fall into this water, and they're swept to the center where we'll build either just a dead drop so that they fall. I believe a zombie piglin has to fall 24 blocks to die immediately, or you can have them fall 23 blocks and then hit them yourself with a looting sword to increase your rewards. Whoop. There we go. Turned off flying for a second. But really, that's all it takes to build a gold farm. You can set yourself down here and even block this in and then fight them all you want. I've got a trident. That'll work. But they haven't fallen quite far enough to make it worth it. All right, out of the way. Put the glass back in place. If you have a one block hole, the smaller zombie piglins can still get out. You can put a slab to the top of it. Do I have a slab? I'll have to get a slab. There's slabs. Any slab will do. No, just one. Just one is fine. Maybe my mouse is going bad. But yeah, you can just stand here and strike them with impunity. Now, obviously, like I said, these ones haven't fallen down far enough to make it an easy finisher. So you're stuck with that. And once you get close, you'll pull the experience out of there. But they may be able to hit you from here. This is on creative, so they don't attack. And that's probably really loud, so I'll stop doing that. It does not take long for that tiny little chamber to get packed with zombie pigmen. But we'll let them continue to fall to their doom, and we'll go talk about a more sophisticated portal. So you'll notice that this one is flashing on and off. We have a lava chamber with some trapdoors here to keep starting a fire. And we have a dispenser over here with a water bucket that is breaking the portal constantly. Now, this is just a brute force mechanism. This lava has some observers underneath it that keep causing it to update, which means it keeps trying to set this portal on fire, and so obviously lighting the portal. And you can see that all of our pigmen are falling on this positive side, so we only built the water on this one side. Now, before I go much further, this is a design that I found from JC Plays. I will link their channel in the description of this video. There. So that we're accurate in our building. But you can see this is spawning almost as many pigmen as that whole setup of portals. However, the constant flickering of this portal is going to be even more straining. And you can, since the pigmen fall down this side, you can take this whole pillar out and go right into the kill chamber here, and you can double this portal. So what you would do is start 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would build your 23 blocks out that way and square this portal off to double up on it. However, this is going to take us to our collection system. So down here we have a Trident killer to finish everyone off. Not sure if it's loaded right now. I can't hear the Trident working, so we'll do that. Put a slab in there. These ones are falling a little farther, so they're much easier to deal with. As you can see, it's pretty packed in there. Well, pretty hard to toss a Trident through that tiny slot. But anyways, we use this switch. Now this is where we put it so that it can be very close to where we're activating our Trident killer. Oh, seems like there is a Trident in there. They're taking damage now. So we have this lever powering this block and powers this redstone. You go 15 spaces, you put a repeater so the signal continues. All of these torches will flip to the opposite when you turn the lever on, which will power this piston. When this piston is powered, these observers are not making a clock. They're not observing anything. Your dispenser will be stuck with either the water in or the water out. I often prefer the water out. That way the portal is not just sitting here occasionally spawning a singular pigman. But you can deal with it however you like. This is a very easy circuit. We just have observers. We have one observer looking that way and 3 observers observing that, so that we have a constant signal. Whoop. You'll see this one is just flashing, flashing, flashing. So all 3 of these observers are continually observing and talking to each other. And that causes the lava to keep updating. And as it does, it will keep attempting to set fire to these trapdoors, which will in turn light the portal. If you've not seen my builds for a Trident killer, they're very easy. We'll pop these blocks out so we can have a look at it. And it is a piston facing inward, an observer facing that torch, and a torch on the side of the piston. And you just repeat that over and over and over again. We put hoppers in the center here. And what those will do is, whoops. What those do is push this Trident around and around and around. The Trident never loses durability, and it causes damage as the same as a falling projectile. So, like when an arrow lands on top of a block and you break the block and the arrow falls and causes damage, as long as it's not your own arrow anyways, the skeleton can do that to you. Pushing the Trident around like that, it will continually damage the pigmen, and that's why you want them to fall so far, so that they only take 1 poke from the Trident before they're done and they drop their goodies. And that way you can hold on to a looting sword while you stand out here watching the carnage. So you saw that we had the 4 hoppers in the floor. I'm using one of mine, a router design where you just put a minecart on top of 4 other carts. That's because, oh yes, all of these pistons are facing into each other, so things will just keep rotating, but the minecart hopper will pull them out fairly quickly and send them onward. Here I have one of the dispenser designs or disposal designs that I've showed you before in one of my videos. We want everything to run into this chest and then have it dispensed one at a time. And the reason for this is because farms like this, especially if you were to double it, send so many items through that I was having a lot of trouble sorting them out. You're going to get, as you'll see, a lot of golden swords, golden nuggets, rotten flesh, and the occasional gold ingot. So we want to bottleneck the process here and send things through one at a time. And then I have set up here filters for each of these things. This one just goes down to a shulker box loader, loading up all the rotten flesh. We'll get that out of the way first. You can trade that to your cleric villagers and make a lot of emeralds that way. It takes a half stack for an emerald for their trades, but what else were you going to do with the rotten flesh? Everything else, well, here we're filtering out gold nuggets, and here the gold ingots. And way over here, I just have a dispenser and the exact same circuit as over there to drop everything into a puddle of lava. You can, if you would like, send all the golden swords onward to be smelted down into a single gold nugget, which doesn't seem worth it. You may really want all of those gold nuggets because it will be a ton of golden swords that come through. We'll turn it on here in a minute and show you just how many come through. It's not worth the fuel, as far as I can tell, to melt down each of the swords into a singular golden nugget, and then have them. You could build an item elevator and run the hoppers back around to loop them back in here, where I have built a dual compacting crafter. If you've watched my advanced and complex crafters videos, you might wonder why I didn't use a two-stage crafter, and that's because that two-stage crafter is only triggered by items coming down, or the second portion, anyways, is only triggered by an item being in the hopper right above the crafter. And since we have golden ingots here, that doesn't happen as often as I'd like. So this crafter will get jammed up with items, and then this hopper would get backed up, and then this crafter would get backed up and unable to continue performing. And you'll break your whole system that way, because eventually then you'd have golden nuggets loading up here and unable to drop, and then your plugs for your hopper, I like to call them hopper stoppers because I think I'm clever that way, those will start to fall through because you'll have too much signal into the comparator for the golden nuggets. All of these things are in other videos I've made. This is a item filter or sorter. Uh, Depending on how many items you use here, you can have fewer gold nuggets for your filter. I find having it all the way down to one item was seeing more nuggets and more rotten flesh, because I did the same thing, coming all the way through here and getting thrown in the lava and wasted. So I don't know if that's a new update or if um, the filters just work a little more smoothly if you have 5 of your filter items or so. You saw I added individual hopper stoppers here, and you watch the nuggets or the ingots drop as there was more signal coming through from those. So you can fuss with it as you would like and see what works best for you. It could be a lag issue as well, but our dual crafters here are just the same that I've used in my basic crafter and advanced crafters videos. It's a simple circuit of comparator and subtract mode, getting a signal from the side of 8, and when this crafter is full and giving this comparator a signal of 9, the signal will pass through this blue block, lighting up this dust, sending on to the repeater here, powering this block, which, yes, it will actually lock up this hopper for the moment that it's lit, causing the crafter to fire. You'll get a gold ingot that's fired through the cobwebs, which is my new best or new favorite way of catching items from a crafter. Because once it spits them out into the cobweb, they don't sit there for very long before the item hopper grabs them, sending it along. Whoop, my helper has arrived. Say hello, Rust. Not feeling very talkative tonight. Okay. I don't know if you can hear him purring, which reminds me, this is a new headset, so if I sound a little bit different, that would be why. But as you can see, this is going to craft these down into blocks of gold. And so far, this has been the most precise way I have found of sorting these. I have been working on this farm all week. I tried an allay collector with 8 allay, all picking gold swords. Um, they all zoned out and let so many gold swords go through. And like I said, even if I could get all the gold swords out with precision, it's not worth it. Using any of your furnace fuel to smelt down a single golden nugget, and then all of the resources it would take to route those golden nuggets back through is just seems overly expensive for no returns. So let the golden swords go. If you really want them, that's up to you. You can just have a collection system here at the end, and you will see some rotten flesh get through. I think this system just gets overwhelmed by the amount of items coming through from the piglins and the speed at which they come through. You'll see some rotten flesh, some golden nuggets, the very rare gold ingot that comes through here. So if that just hurts your heart to let those go, then don't use a disposal setup here. Just have a chest that collects everything, or maybe a few in series, and empty it out every now and then. And you can scrape the enchanted ones on a grindstone and get the experience back. That might help make it worth it, and run them all through a smelter. Uh, so yeah, that's really all I have for you this time. Um, very basic Trident killer, very basic flashing portal, or a whole series of portals to get yourself an army of pigmen to slaughter, or zombie pigmen. And they only drop those 4 items, so item sorting really isn't the issue. It's just very, very overabundant flow of items. So that's really all I have for you this time. Uh, Gold farms are pretty handy to have, but they do require a huge investment of resources. Obsidian. Go mine that in the end if you've beaten the Ender Dragon, because that is the best source of obsidian in the game. And that's really all I've got for you this time. So thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. I want you to be blessed on your next quest, which I hope is the holiday weekend coming right up. Uh, have a good time with whatever you intend to do for that. And I'm off to my next adventure.